Well, back now on Triad Today, almost time for the Roundtable. We'll hold up the copy of Yes Weekly here. Hope you'll check that out. Now, to the Roundtable. On my immediate right, but always on the political left, Ogi Overman, who is, and you said your middle name's David, right?
My first name is David.
David.
My real name is David.
David. All right. So folks at home didn't know that. They know that now. And Ogi Overman's here, David Ogi Overman. Next to him is David Plyner, who is my longtime friend of 100 years, chairman of the County Commissioners, longtime broadcaster. Next to him is a special guest who has sat here and waited since the first of the program. He's filling in for Keith Granberry, David Daggett of the Daggett Shuler law firm. Welcome, David. Good to have you.
Hey. 3 D's here right now.
Yeah, first time in my life I've ever had 3 Davids on the.
It's a good day. It's a red letter day.
Remind the audience and everybody, April 23rd, if you're in the area code of 336, you're going to have to dial 336 before you dial your number to make a local call. I don't like it. That's the way it is. April 23rd is that deadline. Guys, first thing I want to get to, we have a couple breaking stories over the last few days. Pat McCrory, Governor McCrory, has changed a couple provisions in an executive order trying to get the General Assembly to go along with this. One is to give more protections to people of sexual orientation, different orientation, gender identity, when it comes to being a state employee, not being discriminated against, also giving them the right to go to state court for redress. Quickly, Ogi, is this a step in the right direction or nothing?
Basically nothing. One of my pet phrases is, half measures availed us nothing. This really does zero. It's going to be settled in the courts. That's the only thing that's going to happen.
David.
Well, I have no position one way or the other on the bill itself. I do have a position on the method that was used. There was no public hearing. The entire process took 12 hours.
Right.
And
in the governor's defense is to react before the Charlotte bill went into law, though.
Well, this whole thing is still a tempest in a teapot, but the bottom line is if you're going to do something for the people, do it. Don't do it to the people. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm saying the General Assembly's leaders kind of reminded me of, before you tell me to stop, kind of reminded me of another voice named Pelosi who said one time, I don't care if you haven't read it, vote for it.
Yeah, I heard that before. David Daggett.
Well, I can't argue with my good old friend and my chair. I think that the process was not transparent.
Right.
And without daylight on the process, what happens is it upsets both sides.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a fair public debate, a fair public process. There's a much greater chance of having acceptable law.
Absolutely. Guys, this just came out a couple days ago. The New York General Assembly is considering a bill that would make it legal for law enforcement people to have a device called a textilizer, meaning if you got into a car crash, they could take your cell phone or iPhone or whatever and hook it up to this textilizer to determine if you were texting while driving, which caused the crash. Quickly, Ogi, is that something you'd be for or against us doing?
I've never heard of that. I mean, I just never knew that technology existed, but on first blush, I think I'm for it. I think texting is really bad. It's just dumb.
David Plyler.
Well, I know of at least one person, in my opinion, who died as a result of that. I'd say absolutely.
David Daggett.
We can already get that information through the discovery process in lawsuits, and with statistics showing that texting and driving can be up to 6 to 8 times more dangerous than drunk driving, I think that's way to the future, and the public needs that for safety.
All right, guys, employees in a Greensboro B&B, it's not funny, BB&T branch staged a mock robbery for training purposes but failed to notify the guy who was opening up the bank that morning. So the robbers came in masks with fake guns, surprised the guy. Now the guy who says he's suffering physical and mental injuries, he's suing. Who wins this lawsuit, Ogi?
I mean, that's cold-blooded. That's just dumb, too. But, yeah, I hope the guy wins it. I do.
I would defer to David Daggett on this, but it reminds me of Barney Fife.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
Well, it does. I think management, a forethought, would have prevented this situation, and the worker, if the injuries are true and legitimate, ought to have a valid claim.
Duke University students refused to end their protest, sit-in protest, unless the school's vice president is fired for calling a black female employee the N-word. The man apologized, but should he be fired, Ogi?
You can't do that. The guy's at Duke, for crying out loud. You can't do that. Fire the guy.
Dave.
It's spring. That happens.
What happens?
People say things and do things that they wouldn't do in the dead of winter.
Well, I don't know if the guy was drinking or not, but he probably should be fired. David.
Well, I think you have to look at it in context. What's the history? What's the track record? What's those sort of things? Nothing is ever an isolated event, in my experience.
Right.
So you have to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, I think I would sort of side with Ogie on that. A new Indiana law requires high school coaches to undergo training that will educate them about how to recognize a concussion. Should all 50 states adopt this law? Ogie?
Yeah, that's the wave of the future. Clearly, concussions are going to be the issue of the future, and that's going to happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No question about it. In fact, our local Children's Institute on Pediatric Trauma, who you've had on your show in the past,
Right.
They're leaders in the country on this issue.
Absolutely. Finally, a University of Michigan study reveals that some men who carry cell phones in their pants often feel phantom vibrations even when the phone does not buzz. Yeah. Guys, have you ever felt a phantom vibration? Ogie?
Jim, have you ever thought about putting this show on HBO or Netflix, so we could really just get it all out there?
Dave Plyler.
This is Triad Today.
You're not feeling anything right now, are you? David Daggett?
I may be the younger of the brethren, but we're all too old for this.
I don't know what all that means. Anyway, we do appreciate David Daggett filling in for Keith Granberry and hope you'll come back sometime and do the roundtable.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
Appreciate it, guys. Good job. Oh, I almost forgot. This one thing I want to mention. Sarah Palin has posted a photo of herself standing over the dead body of a wild boar while urging people to vote for Donald Trump. Said Palin, "It's my right to be seen with a big pig, and I like the boar, too." Did you like that one?
Good.
For all of us here at Triad Today, I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next time.